Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Chipod Ironicast, your May 2016 edition. How are you doing today?
Great. It's the same day as the last podcast.
Day. All right. We're efficient. So today, the sun is shining, the birds are singing. James Corden is deep in rehearsal. Every musical person who isn't in Hamilton is saving time from writing possible acceptance speeches and just spending it with their families, which can mean only one thing. E3 is around the corner. Hooray.
Yeah.
I did the thing from last year and did it backwards.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you get that? All right.
Damn, I did. Man, it feels weird to have E3 around again. Mm-hmm. It feels like it hasn't been that long.
So this is going to be our pre-E3 special. There's only one big topic to talk about, and so instead of having this be a like double or triple length episode to do the full docket of bits, it's just E3 today. But
just E3.
We have E3 and our listener Q&A at the end. And how can people submit those questions?
You can send those to chipcheesem@chipandironicast.com.
Thank you very much. And please do. We read them, and there's a good chance we'll get them on the air so you can hear an answer coming straight to you. We have some other business. It's time for the most important running bit on Chipod Ironicast, the Illuminati update. Tell us, how far are you into sure and guaranteed fame and fortune?
The Illuminati never got back to me.
Those jerks.
Yeah, it's weird. You think with the Illuminati like sending me this invitation to join their ranks, they'd promptly get back to me, but it turns out no. I don't know if my email got lost. Maybe I should email them again, or maybe there's some kind of secret test there, like replying means you're not getting into the Illuminati.
They were so busy, like making lemonade and keeping it secret, and making Fuller House and trying to get people to watch it for some reason, and killing Prince. That was they had a lot on their plate the last few months.
Yeah, I mean,
but I still don't think this is going to happen.
Nah, probably not. The staff is just full on making secret hints for the people who know about the Illuminati to catch on to their plans, but not stop them,
or let new people in,
new people in.
Yeah.
Maybe it's one of those. Maybe it's like with family videos, with how they say they're always hiring, but they actually aren't. It's that type of thing. Like, hey, we need a new manager. Well, when you apply, throwing it right in the trash. We don't actually need a manager. Sorry, buddy.
Sorry. So that's that. I think we're just gonna have to put that one to bed.
Yeah.
But E3 though, that's getting hot, Bing. Do you want to just run through the schedule and try to keep things that way?
Yeah.
For organization purposes?
Let's do that.
I got a copy of the schedule. There is. Right. Do you want to talk about YouTube Live? Because technically, that's the first programming of E3, even though they won't have much to talk about because they're launching before anything else.
Yeah, YouTube Live, they did last year as well, and I can't remember if YouTube Live was the one that had like Jeff Keighley and those people on it, or if that was...
I think so, because this year it is Jeff Keighley and Rooster Teeth doing YouTube Live.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that's the thing that runs between everything. They do the pregame stuff too, and it's mainly just what video game's gonna be here this year, like football talk shit.
And the sports commentary thing. Yeah, it's like 12 hours a day Sports Center, but for video game advertisements.
Yeah, it's
not even video games, video game advertisements.
Video game advertisements. I would say it's strange, but it doesn't feel like that anymore, especially because like at least with the YouTube Live stuff. It's what we're
doing right now, so
yeah. And also
I fell off my very high horse. Oh dear.
The YouTube Live stuff isn't like that remarkable, I think, because like it doesn't really have tech issues. It's just people talking. Nothing weird really happens in those, unfortunately. So those, I feel like YouTube Live stuff is just kind of there. Like, I'll look at it when every once in a while it's like, oh, we have actual footage of the game, when the announced trailer was not game footage or something like that.
Yeah,
they do that sometimes. So,
like they did they broke the Metal Gear trailer because
yes,
Kojima didn't want Sony to have it.
Yeah, which was a little weird, but yeah.
So, I mean, that's going to be happening, like I say, about 12 hours a day through the whole thing.
Yep.
And for some reason, they're starting before they really have much to talk about. But again, so are we right now, right here today. So the first game company doing anything is EA. They're going to be... Now, this is unique because they're going to be having a press conference, but they're not going to be on the show floor at all.
Yeah, E3 is a little weird this year because people are either dropping out or coming in a more limited capacity than before.
So the EA will not be on the show floor. Instead, they're going to have their own, basically their own fan event across the street, practically.
Yeah.
Where people can come and get hands-on. And while they will be, again, doing a press conference for everybody to watch, the press at E3 are going to have to go to a completely different building in order to do their press job.
Yeah, what I've noticed is, and we'll see a little bit more of this like with Nintendo and stuff, is it seems this year is right around the time everybody's going like, wait, if we just have our own platform for our stuff, we won't have to like compete as much with other people that are also announcing their games.
Do you think these are people sort of learning the lessons of things like Treehouse Direct and that sort of thing? Or
I think it could be part of that, yeah. Because, it's just like even a few years ago when Sony and Microsoft announced their consoles, like they didn't do that at E3. They did that months prior with their own thing because then there's no competition. And yeah, it feels like in the next couple of years, everybody's just going to go more like, maybe not Nintendo Direct, but taking inspiration of that and just going like, we have our own things we do when we feel like it, because that means we can control our message way more than if we are always like strapped for time and we always have to go like, oh shit, we need stuff for E3. It's in the summer always. We need the stuff by now. And instead, if you could just go like, I'm not going to do E3 and just make our own event to hype up, then you can just do it when you're ready. Or when it's more advantageous to you.
So what are you expecting to see from EA this year?
Well, EA last year, I think
they are generally the least surprising of conferences. So
yeah, it's EA's a lot of sports games, and I can't remember. I think it was last year's E3 where EA basically showed up with almost nothing aside from like gray box levels and concept art for games they weren't ready to show yet. Or maybe that was the year before. Yeah, I think that was the year before last, because last year they showed like a 3-second clip of the new Mass Effect. They showed some Mirror's Edge. They showed some of whatever the new latest Battlefield was at a time, and then I think the rest was sports.
Yeah. So
I think was last year the one where they also had like that legendary soccer player come on, and everybody was like, "Why is this man here? He's like 70."
Yeah, they had Paleon. They also it was the big coming out day for the new Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah, that's right.
Which will be back again, presumably, because they have DLCs to promote. Yeah,
and they're gonna keep promoting it until it sells better.
And I mean, with all that's been happening with Star Wars games and E3 in the last few months, I expect a fair amount of Star Wars. I'm looking forward to seeing some Star Wars.
Okay, so here's something that could happen from EA. They own Visceral, the developer that made the Dead Space games. Amy Hennig, one of the head writers for Uncharted, left Naughty Dog a while ago. She actually joined Visceral, and they're working on a Star Wars game.
Oh, I want to play that Star Wars game.
So
it's too bad I don't actually play video games. So
don't worry, if it's good enough, I'll let's play it or something. Okay. If it's Star Wars or Uncharted, sure. But yeah, that could happen. I guess it's just like, oh, is that game far enough along yet? But it's happening. Aside from that, they're going to show the new Mass Effect. People will be very happy or very upset, depending what they do.
The new Battlefield.
The new Battlefield, the Battlefield 1 that's happening now. Just putting 1 in the front of like your 20th game.
Because it will take place in the year 1 CE, going back to the Battlefield 1942 naming convention. Mm-hmm. You'll be Roman legionnaires, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, man. I'd try that out. I don't really know what else to expect from EA because they're generally the least surprising. Like, the last time
on
they
the
did
other hand,
something,
you know
like,
exactly what to expect. You know, to have a 10 to 15 minute sports package.
They bring out one sportsman, and then he's like, I was in the sport that this game is about. And then they go, wow, that's so amazing. Thanks for being on. My favorite thing that happens every goddamn E3 with EA is they go, look, here's the new NBA 2K whatever. Here's the new sports game. Doesn't matter which one it is, but their presentations are always, just look at how much better the animations are now. And it'll just be like a guy in a gray level. It's just like, wow, he's juking way better with the basketball than he was the year before. He doesn't rotate as much.
It is hard to promote like all of their sports games the same time every year because they come out at different times or they're different points in their development. So there's always one sport that's like in the worst place to get shown off, but they have to. They just have to.
Yeah. And you know, there's also only so many ways you can promote a sports game because you know how the sport works.
Right.
It's not like with other games where it's
we
like
came
iterative
up with
and it's
new
like
rules for baseball. Trust me, they're going to be great.
Yeah, we've changed up the rules of baseball. It's a whole new game. So, you know, it's really static as far as that goes. So it's the people that are really into those sports games now, too. Like, those games are not arcadey games anymore. They haven't been for a long time. Like, they're very simulation based for the most part. And so, like, the people who are into those, they just want to see new things that try to simulate the actual sport even better than last time. And then, I mean, okay, the only thing that could surprise me is if they do something like they did with their last NBA game, where it had a single player campaign that was a Spike Lee joint.
Nice.
Did you see any of those cutscenes?
I did not.
Oh, I'll have to show you one of them later because it's really. So the beginning is like, okay, the story of this young up and coming high schooler who wants to get into the NBA is it's all written by Spike Lee, and the beginning of it is live action video of Spike Lee, and he's like, I can't wait to take you into this virtual world I have penned, and then it just cuts. He says Shazam, and it cuts away from real life Spike Lee to horribly mocap, poorly modeled Spike Lee, and it's just supposed to be like, wow, the magic of video games, but he just looks terrible. He looks soulless and glossy eyed and like he's made from clay, and it's just it's a really great unintentional joke.
That sounds like what would happen if Spike Lee went corporate. He'd turn soulless and be made of clay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I want from sports games. More single players driven campaigns, because I think those are very funny to me.
So later that same day, I think the EA conference is going to be very rote, very predictable, because it always is.
Yeah.
But the fun will be seeing if their whole like counter convention turns out to be very interesting, or maybe it'll be a mismanaged mess. Probably not, but I hope it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, if it's they probably have it down pat, just because publishers and devs have done so many show the press our game things that like it's really hard to,
how different is it to make it a show the public our game thing? Yeah,
and it's like, at least for journalists and stuff, when they go and like try out a game, like if they see like, oh, this PC with the build of the game on it crashed and now we have to reboot it, like that's not bad, because those people kind of understand that like, oh, it's in progress, these things will fuck up. I've been to 18 of these. One of the games always breaks at some point. So it'll probably be very standard stuff.
So later that day, we get the Bethesda show. Now, this is hard to predict because it's only their second one. There's very little precedent.
Last year's was pretty
huge.
decent.
Like, it was fantastic. Fallout 4, Doom. Oh, here's a little thing called Fallout Shelter. You can download it now. People were going nuts about Bethesda.
Yeah, it was a great conference. Like, I didn't think Fallout 4 was a great game, but the way they showed it off, and like they showed it off and went, by the way, it launches in like 4 months.
Yeah.
Like, that actually had a really big impact on a lot of developers were looking at that Fallout 4 reveal and how successful it was for them and going like, oh, maybe we should not announce games until they're almost ready to come out. So
Doom is out now, and it's people are very happy with it.
Yeah, I streamed it last night with Voidburger. It's a really good game. I like it a lot. So yeah, it's... Plus, Bethesda has more IPs now. They've got Wolfenstein. The last Wolfenstein that came out like 2 years ago was actually really good as well. So it wouldn't be surprising if there's a sequel to that. They have The Evil Within, which sold well but wasn't great. But maybe they'll just try again based off feedback. It's just weird because like recently, at least they're 2 for 2 now, and like bringing back old first-person shooter IPs and making like modernizing them, but still making them feel like they belong to that IP. And like there's like no real bad criticism for either Doom or Wolfenstein. Like, they're just kind of generally well liked.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if they're going to try and do that again with another IP. Well, like, here's the new Quake.
Machine Games, the people who made Wolfenstein, The New Order and The Old Blood, don't currently have any projects in the works that are yet announced.
Yeah.
Of course, Machine Games does have job listings up, which makes people think they could have something in the works.
Yeah, there was some job listing for a game that sounded like a Quake. So if they're not doing a Wolfenstein, perhaps they're doing Quake. That would make sense since they're 2 for 2 on revivals.
The same sort of no announcement, but they must be doing something. Is Tango Gameworks the group that made The Evil Within?
Yep. Yeah. I'm fully expecting them to just make another Evil Within, or if not Evil Within, then at least like here's another not Resident Evil thing.
Do you think
maybe it'll be better this time?
Do you think we'll hear anything about Battle Cry, their competitive their class-based multiplayer thing?
Oh God, I forgot entirely about that. But I remember what it looks like. God. I feel like Battle Cry's been really silent, and I'm wondering if they might axe it just because there's a lot of competition in that field with Overwatch, and everybody loves it.
Or maybe now's the time to bring it out because everybody loves Overwatch.
Yeah, there's that.
Do you think we're going to get another Elder Scrolls game announced? Because, I mean, when you think Bethesda, what else are they going to do?
Right. That's probably going to be the next thing they do announce, but I feel like it might be too early because they still have a lot of DLC to put out for Fallout.
Okay. Yeah.
Like their first big expansion, like story expansion thing came out like last week, and they have like at least 1 or 2 more planned. So I wouldn't be surprised if the next thing they announce is just like the next Fallout DLC campaign thing. But yeah, I don't know. The Bethesda's conference last year was pretty good, so I'm excited to see it again because they do own a couple studios that make stuff I really like and have genuinely been like out of left field surprises. Like, oh, a new Wolfenstein? Well, I'm not expecting much for that. Oh, it's really good. Oh, a new Doom? I don't know about that. Oh, it's really good. So
so that's some stuff we might see from Bethesda. That brings us to Monday. Monday has the Microsoft show.
This is where stuff's gonna get really weird. There's lots of rumors for Microsoft and also Sony about
Microsoft
new
apparently,
consoles.
has 2 new Xboxes coming out.
Yeah, some of them just seem like new SKUs, so it's like, okay, like with the 360, there were multiple 360s you could get. Ones with different size hard drives, one that doesn't come with a hard drive that's more like a Netflix box. So some of those things that have been like quote unquote leaked or rumored about seem like, oh, it's an Xbox One, but it's for streaming, or it's just more of like a multimedia movie music listening, watching box or something. But there also seems to be another Xbox that's like, oh, it is a better Xbox One. It has better hardware. It will run games better. The graphics will look nicer. And this
So if you want to look it up yourself, look for Xbox Scorpio. Ooh.
Yeah, Scorpio. That's right. That's a great code name, though. I love the sound of Scorpio. That should just be the name of it. Like, I feel like so many consoles have way cooler code names than their actual release names are.
Yeah.
And so, like, just leave it be Scorpio, man. This sounds fucking cool. You could release limited edition ones that look like scorpions that got stinger tails on them. I don't know. So yeah, there's this whole big console thing. There's like VR stuff happening. I know Microsoft has HoloLens, which they've shown before, but that's like VR projections onto your screen. They're like supplemental to what's happening on the screen. Like the projection like goes all over your room and changes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they said that they weren't going to release that to consumers, and it was for other purposes or something like that. But I think they still might have some kind of VR thing, because I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to bank on VR this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like a little bit of VR was shown last year, but now that the Oculus Rift is out and everybody else's Oculus type thing is being worked on, getting close to completion, I feel like a lot of people are just going to go like, look at all these VR games. Look.
Okay, do you think they're going to like maybe announce something with Oculus and go hard into VR? Or do you think Microsoft is more likely to just double down on HoloLens? Be like, VR nothing. Look at what HoloLens can do.
Yeah, I don't know, because the HoloLens stuff, I remember there was some kind of article where they're like, we're not going to do consumer HoloLens stuff for a while because it's very pricey to do. I just honestly can't remember if they have a normal VR thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if along with the new console, they also go like, look, and with the power of this new console, you can use the Oculus Rift. Because like Microsoft already partnered with Oculus to like, so when you get an Oculus Rift, it comes with an Xbox One controller.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe instead of just making their own VR thing, they'll just go like, hey, give us the Oculus Rift and we'll make it work with the Xbox One. Because the current VR does take a lot of power to work, even like VR games that don't look that great, because they have to be rendered more than once for each eye.
Right.
So yeah, I'm guessing maybe VR stuff. And I'm guessing that they're not going to do much like, here's Xbox One exclusive games, because they're...
Actually, let's talk about games. I mean, probably going to see some Halos, probably going to see some Gears of Wars.
Yeah, Halo, Gears of War.
Crackdown was there last year. Crackdown might have gameplay this year.
Scalebound. No, actually, Scalebound, I think, is skipping E3 and is going to be at Gamescom instead, like a month or so down the road. I think it's skipping because it got delayed to 2017 a few months ago.
Here's a question, though. Out of the games we're likely to see, how many do you think will not be shoot or car? Non-shoot, non-car games. Is this the year Microsoft delivers that?
I could see... Okay, so there'll probably be at least one game that is not shoot or car, or at least is not focused on shoot, and that is Rare's new game where you're a pirate.
Oh yeah, the Rare pirate game.
Yeah. Oh, one other one. Battletoads. Battletoads might happen. I feel like Battletoads could happen.
There's been an announcement of an Xbox One exclusive called Ashen. It's an ashen world that has had a lot of volcanoes like blotting out the sun, covering the world in ash, and it's about forging relationships with other characters in the harsh open world. It's an open world RPG from the ID at Xbox Independent Developer Program.
Oh yeah.
So here's something. Do you remember Phantom Dust? Here's a question. Does Microsoft remember Phantom Dust?
I don't know. It's weird what happened with Phantom Dust. Because like I don't know if you heard about this part, but like with Phantom Dust, like okay, they were the studio that was hired to do it. They were making, remaking the original Xbox Phantom Dust, but they were only doing multiplayer. Phantom Dust did have a single player, but they were only doing a multiplayer component and nothing else. And then while they were working on multiplayer, during interviews, dudes from Microsoft were going, yeah, this game's going to have an epic 30 hours JRPG single player storyline. And they were like, what? We aren't making that at all. We can make it if we have more money. And then Microsoft went, no. And so they didn't make single player, and they went, but we need single player. And so then they just canned them in the project, which is kind of fucked up.
So we're unlikely to see that come back from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, at least not this year. If they do bring it back, it'd probably be like next year or like in between the E3s. Oh, I just remembered there was one more thing with Bethesda, I think. Oh, what was it? I forgot. I'll come back to it when I remember it.
Okay.
There was like one other big thing with them, though, I think. But Microsoft.
It will be interesting to see whether this is games-focused Microsoft or lifestyle box-focused Microsoft.
Yeah, so one thing they're doing that seems like it'd be a new initiative for them is, so they started games for Windows, or not games for Windows, whatever they call it now, where it's like, oh, our Xbox One games will also be ready for PC. We're supporting PC gaming all the way. Windows 10, please upgrade to Windows 10, please. And so far, it hasn't worked out great because the games that have, been ported to PC at the same time with Microsoft support have had really bad PC ports, like Quantum Break. Apparently did not run very hot and was a kind of a disappointment in that regard. So it seems like Microsoft is possibly abandoning Xbox One as like the big games system, and instead is just making it one of several platforms where you can get Microsoft supported games.
Right.
So, oh, you want this game? Well, you can get it on PC, you can get an Xbox One, you can get it on Scorpio or whatever, and they might even it might even be part of a plan to move away from having consoles and being more like a service that provides games to people, or something like that.
Speaking of PC gaming, there's the PC gaming show. Now, this was also new last year, and it went for what, like 5 hours or something?
Yeah, it was like 5 hours, and I did not watch it, but I heard it was kind of a wreck.
I mean,
not an embarrassing one. It seemed more like a technical, organizational wreck.
It seemed to be. I was at a concert during it.
Right.
So just checking it on Twitter, it seemed to be people like PC developers coming up, sitting on a couch, showing off whatever they wanted to for apparently as long as they wanted to.
Yeah.
And then getting off and then having some weird tech snafu in between almost every developer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems basically what it was. I'll be interested to see how they try to improve on that.
They're promising it is going to be shorter and more to the point.
Okay, that's good. I found that the PC Gamer one weird because I don't remember how many people were actually watching it, but it was just like people go to E3 for the new announcements, and PC Gamer was basically like, oh, here's games you know about. Like, okay, maybe it's stuff that's, but it's like people first and foremost want like, here's the new game, world exclusive or whatever, and that doesn't happen there.
That's why they watch the Spike Awards.
Yeah. Oh, the Spike Awards. So yeah, I don't know. I'll probably watch that one this time around, as long as, it's not in the middle of something else as well. So,
are there any PC games on the horizon that you'd like to see more from?
I can't really think of any that also just aren't already like, oh, they're on console too, and that's how I know about them.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like it's trying to fill a gap that doesn't exist, kind of, at least not in that capacity. It's like, oh, the PC stuff. Well, yeah, I can also see those big name games in the other conferences.
So I guess we don't really know what to expect from that one. So
Yeah.
see you
Maybe
Monday.
it'll be amazing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the most important press conference of the whole show. Ubisoft.
Yes.
Monday afternoon.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to, well, okay, there's stuff you can always expect from Ubisoft. Here's the big one that we almost absolutely know is going to be there.
Dancing.
Watch Dogs 2.
Oh, also that, yeah.
Yeah. Because there's that apparent leak of what the new protagonist looks like, and he's not that different at all.
No.
He looks almost the same, but now it's like, oh, he's from San Francisco.
He's I'd say about 8, 12 at the most years younger.
Yep.
And a black guy from San Francisco rather than your Uncle Fake Batman.
Yeah, so maybe that part will help at least, but it's like, man,
he wears a Live Strong bracelet, and I don't know why. This is supposed to be in the future, not the past.
Yeah. So that'll be. I'm very interested in seeing what a Watch Dogs 2 is like. Will they actually take the feedback and the criticisms that game got, or is it going to be more Watch Dogs but like bigger?
Bigger dogs.
Like, yeah, the dogs are bigger or something. So I don't know about that, what that's going to be like, but I'm very interested. They could announce an Assassin's Creed, but they might. No, actually, they said they're not announcing one because they're focusing on Watch Dogs instead.
Right.
Because they're taking a year off of Assassin's Creed because they've been doing yearly releases for that, possibly to like mix it up a little bit because Assassin's Creed is getting pretty stale. Like everybody's going like, yeah, this is getting pretty stale by now. Maybe take an extra year to make something. I don't know.
Maybe.
So there's that. There's their general Tom Clancy stuff. There's that one they showed at the end of their conference last year where it was like drug raids.
Oh, yeah, that one was interesting.
It was a Ghost. Oh, actually, that was a Ghost Recon, and they just released a new trailer for that a few days ago. That's the other weird thing. Some companies have been releasing stuff you would think they'd say for E3 earlier, so who knows if they have bigger announcements or what. But yeah, that was actually kind of an interesting looking one. That seemed like a cool new take on something. Mm-hmm. They had that like medieval sword fighting game last year. I can't remember what it was called.
They have a surprisingly wide variety of new ideas. I'm hoping we get some new Ubi art stuff. Not necessarily that engine, but at least that perspective on design.
Right. And
don't even say it. Just don't.
No, I wasn't going to say it for Ubisoft because all the rumors that existed for it were not going to be the Ubisoft conference.
Really?
All the rumors for Beyond Good and Evil 2 recently.
Don't even.
All the rumors have not been for the Ubisoft conference, but rather for Nintendo.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That does make sense as far as these rumors go.
The current rumor being Nintendo might be trying to fund the development of Beyond Good and Evil 2 to be a launch title for the NX. But we won't find out about that, as you'll hear later, because of what Nintendo's doing this time around. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's the rumor right now.
Okay.
With that.
So, let's leave that gun on the table and come back to it in Act 3, because now it's time to talk Sony.
Oh, boy. Now,
Sony also has rumored new hardware, the codename PlayStation Neo.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has been reported on that to the point where it seems like, yeah, this is probably pretty real. The whole rumor being, okay, PS4 Neo has better hardware. It'll run VR games better. And
specifically PlayStation VR.
Yeah, PlayStation VR.
What if our good friends at No Goblin, producers of the Men of Game Dev calendar, are
my
brought
God.
out on stage to play 100-foot robot golf during like a PlayStation VR segment.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, they were on stage. Were they at E3 last year? Or I can't remember where they were announced.
They were
If
announced
were at the PlayStation,
at some sort of PlayStation event.
yeah, PlayStation Experience.
That's the one.
I think. Yeah.
And
So they weren't at E3, but
and Dan Teasdale was giving some interviews about it afterwards.
that's right. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're at E3. Well, yeah, they're going to be at E3 at some capacity. I think it'd be cool to see them on stage. They do seem. This does seem like there's a lot of positive impressions from people who have played it already. So it would make sense for them to be one of the VR games they put up on stage.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the PS4 Neo is also supposedly developers will have to make their games to run on both.
Huh.
So
okay.
yeah, so it's just games from previous older games that have already released could also run better on the PS4 Neo, but the devs would like have to go back into the game and like patch it to run at higher settings essentially. Because those games are locked at one setting. But yeah, further games that release after they announced the PS4 Neo, it seems they'll have to be developed so that they look nice on the PS4 Neo, but also run on the normal PS4 as well, so they're not separating people. But I wouldn't be surprised if adoption rate is really high for it, that eventually down the line it'll be like, oh, this is PS4 Neo only.
Right.
Or something like that.
I think...
Which is also... Oh, go ahead.
No, sure. You were going on the same thought. I was going to start a new one.
Oh, okay. The with the Neo and possibly what Microsoft is doing, this is also rumored to be possibly these two companies trying to adapt to how the market is going and how they seem to think that possibly just releasing a new console once every 6 to 8 years is not viable anymore. And rather we need iterative consoles that come out every few years, like smartphones.
Yeah, there's a new iPhone every year. There's a new iPad every year or two.
Yeah. So while I think that'd be, at least for consoles, it's like, okay, now there's like a leap, like smaller leaps in graphics and hardware every couple of years. I guess if that's the thing I'm worried about is like, okay, how much is this going to cost?
Right.
Can I trade in my older system and get the new one at a lower price? Because if there's a trade-in program, that would be nice. If you expect me to pay another $400 and $450 for a new, better console of the one I already have, then
yeah. So I think this year is interesting for Sony in that last year they came out with all these huge announcements that people have been waiting for forever. This year they have to show they're making them real, right? Like we have to see more than a trailer for Last Guardian. We have to see
actually, Last Guardian
gameplay
game
of Final Fantasy VII Remake,
Yeah, Last Guardian footage was put out by IGN just like 2 days ago.
Oh, all right.
People at IGN actually got to play the game. They wrote articles on it. There's actual footage of the game being played. And it's amazing that that's happening at all. And yeah, there was a tiny bit of gameplay footage shown at the PlayStation Experience December last year that already looked pretty far along.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
They've had enough time.
It basically looked like they just needed to polish the systems and get the frame rate up. And it makes sense. The frame rate was crappy. That's what happens when games are in development. But yeah, I hope they show more Final Fantasy VII Remake footage, just because as people saw, I was way into that.
Yeah.
When it got announced.
Yeah, I was there, man. I know.
Yeah. It's yeah, I don't think there's any, I don't know if people are coming in with the expectation that like, oh, Sony's got to like blow us all away again, just like last year. Cause I don't think there's any way they could do that unless somehow they have brand new games up their sleeves that will make people that excited.
Nothing gets you cred like Shenmue 3 gets you cred. Like,
yeah, like there are very few projects left that would get you that amount of credit if you like went, look, guys, we're bringing it back. Like the only thing I think that would really get people like losing their shit again is if they went like, look, guys, Half-Life 3.
Yeah, Half-Life 3 exclusively for PlayStation Neo.
Yeah, like having a Half-Life 3 announcement is the only thing of that magnitude that is left, I think.
And you can download Kingdom Hearts 3 today.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yes. If they did something like that, that'd be pretty huge as well, but announcements of new games and stuff, yeah, like Half-Life 3 is the only really big one left. Like, there are some other things out there. It's like, okay, they've been in development for a long time, like Beyond Good and Evil 2, maybe, but it doesn't have the same huge weight for it that like Final Fantasy VII Remake or Shenmue 3 did.
Last year, they basically pulled off a playground rumor from the 90s somehow.
Yes, that was magnificent. Oh, rumors, Crash Bandicoot. New Crash Bandicoot.
Like high def Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot Neo.
The rumor is that Crash Bandicoot is coming back. Some people have been theorizing that there's another team at Naughty Dog working on it. There were some other things recently where it's like, oh man, I wonder like if, Sony got the rights back to Naughty Dog because Activision owned or Crash Bandicoot. Activision owned the rights to Crash Bandicoot for a while, but they still do. But that doesn't mean that they could just like work with Activision to make a new Crash Bandicoot. But that would be interesting to see if there is like some type of PS1 mascot revival or something like that. I think there's some vague rumors of a new Ape Escape 2, but I don't see that happening, even though I would love for that to happen. Yeah, Sony's is probably the one I'm the most interested in right now as far as like capacity to like announce new games I'm really interested in. There's some other rumors around right now and like leaks for some games that will probably be announced, like Red Dead Redemption 2. Definitely seems like it's going to happen probably. That would probably be a Sony thing, I'm guessing. Yeah, I feel like there's some other Sony things too, but I'm betting there's going to be a really big focus on PlayStation VR and a really big focus on their new console.
Right.
Like, I'm betting half the conference is that, at least.
Poor Vita.
Oh yeah, the Vita's fucking dead.
Poor Vita.
No more Vita, sorry. You're getting Japanese visual novels and indie games on it, that's it.
So that's Sony. Also, I don't want to promote this too much because it's still a few weeks away, but I've been invited to be on somebody else's show on Monday the 13th talking about E3 stuff.
Really?
So, yeah, I might be streaming live from a studio here in Chicago that night doing
cool.
some stuff. So I'll keep everybody abreast on social media about that. It's going to be fun. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm streaming E3 this year. I want to do it, but I don't know if I can.
Well, yeah, we got to save up for Extra Life. Save your energy.
Yeah, I think I have to save my actual like days off for Extra Life.
Oh yeah, those two.
Yeah, so I might not stream E3 this year and just tweet about it like I used to. I'll see if I can get banned from Twitter temporarily for tweeting too much.
Oh man, those days when I'm at the office, I really wish everyone was banned from Twitter. So that brings us to Tuesday. Tuesday has one lone show, Nintendo Treehouse Live. And you want to tell the folks at home what's so very special about Nintendo's E3 this year?
Okay. Nintendo's obviously working on a new console, or console handheld hybrid, or console that also transforms into a handheld. Something crazy.
Yeah, they have the NX and they also have the NH, like that just got leaked from something.
Yeah, something like that. And so yeah, everybody was expecting, because so many people are talking about the NX, and everybody's like extremely thirsty for a new Nintendo console that's like an attempt to be successful, unlike the Wii U was. And just all the weird patents that Nintendo's filing with like cloud computing and like Nintendo points and like being able to trade in those points or accumulate Nintendo points by like sharing your NX's computing power when you're not using it to make somebody else's game run better. And then you get points in exchange for that and you can trade it in for games or fucking something crazy like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a code name MH for Nintendo's next handheld. Yeah.
The Monster Hunter. It's a machine that only plays Monster Hunter. It'll be incredibly successful in Japan,
I'm sure.
Everybody was super hype and thirsty for more information on the NX, and then Nintendo and their little fiscal year roundup thing a few months ago went, we're not doing a Nintendo Direct. We're not talking about the NX. We're not showing off any games. We're going to have a singular Treehouse stream, and all we're doing is focusing on the new Legend of Zelda, but the Wii U version, not the NX version that we have also just announced we're working on that everybody would probably rather see.
Yeah,
so it's really weird.
It. They're going to have one playable game on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Legend of Zelda for Wii U.
Legend of Zelda for Wii U, not even the NX version. That's super strange.
It's so bizarre.
And like for a lot of people, like it immediately came off as like, oh, this is really bad. Nintendo's like fucking up or something. But Nintendo might just not be at the point where they're happy to show off the NX yet. Like just getting ready to do that. They probably didn't hit E3 in time. Mm-hmm. And so now they're probably just going to have their own event after E3 down the line where they just reveal everything themselves when there's no other competition or news to talk about.
It's so bizarre to me.
It is though. It really is. It's so strange. And yeah, it just sucked because everybody was so sure NX would be the new thing. That was like the most exciting thing everybody was waiting for E3. Like, oh man, a new console from Nintendo, who always do really weird out there things, even if they're not successful. It's really interesting to see it first, and it's always a lot of fun to guess what the fuck they're doing. And then it's just like, oh, the biggest draw for E3 this year, gone.
Yeah.
Like it took the wind out of everybody's sails so hard that like I have seen significantly less like hype behind E3 this year. Like everybody's just like, yeah. Oh.
Now there is another event going on. The first ever public event, at least since E3 started being an industry only show. Mm-hmm. E3 Live, the gathering for gamers.
I don't entirely know what E3 Live is, but it sounds like they're trying really hard to stay relevant. Like they just realized that they're at the point where E3 could be dying, maybe.
Yeah, it's a 3-day expo held in downtown LA with gameplay demos, live music, special appearances, and this is my favorite part, dance contests.
Yeah, that's what I go to E3 for. Well, okay, if it's Ubisoft, then it's guaranteed to be there, but
yeah. So that means E3 is 3 separate shows. There's the actual E3. There's E3 Live downtown for people who want to, like regular Joes, to try to get their hands on some of these games. And EA's separate show where you can get your hands on EA's games. EA Play.
E3 is really weird this year, and I'm wondering how long E3 will go on for before it's like done, or if they're just like going to adapt really well and then it'll just keep staying around.
If E3 does just sort of die or become unimportant, this year could be the year people point backwards at, you know? Like, oh, and this is where it blossomed. It used its last energy to metastasize and then crumble.
Yeah. Oh man, it would be. I would be sad if E3's gone. Like it makes total sense why it could go away, and because everybody's just finding their own platform to speak on.
And if it doesn't, people will just look back at this year and think, "Wow, that's when it got too big to fit in one room, and now it just keeps on chugging along."
Yeah, it's I'm really interested to see what happens, like just as the state of E3 and the state of everything else is like, Are we getting? Is like if E3 dies and everybody's having their own platform, does that also mean like the ridiculous amount of like hype shit, like the amount that people just like froth at the mouth at the mouth on the internet just waiting for announcements? Will that go away? Will people be less like just batshit crazy for just like wow me? And will they just be like, oh, a video game? Or is it just going to be smaller but more frequent?
Right. Like you've got, instead of everybody being all over, I think if E3 goes away, one thing it would help with is the console warriorism that somehow still persists into 2016.
It still exists, man.
But if everybody's having their own thing and they aren't like on the same day or over the same weekend, it could cool it a bit.
Yeah, because at least then, like at least on the same day, people wouldn't be trying to go, who's the winner?
Right.
Who did the best? I mean, I would miss that because I have fun with it. It's just like fun, stupid stuff that you can get excited about for like 3 days in a row and then go, oh my God. But it would probably help curb that a little bit, I bet. Although I'm wondering, like, if other companies started doing their own thing, let's say everybody had their own style of Nintendo Direct. People go fucking crazy over Nintendo Directs.
They do.
Like, they lose their goddamn minds, and I'm one of them sometimes when I can tell there's something.
Could anybody else really, though, inject them with the same bizarre charm?
Right,
staring at bananas, getting the Henson Workshop to make puppets of you.
Yeah, like that stuff I think kind of contributes to why people get so hyped up for directs, just because like, okay, there's always a chance something crazy will get announced, but also it's probably going to be weird and stupid. It's like the whole thing's just going to feel like a weird show my uncle's putting on. like the nice uncle, not the weird racist one. The one that just doesn't know how to be funny, but he tries so hard that I love him anyways.
Yeah.
So, Uncle Reggie. Yeah, I can't imagine other companies emulating that as well, or making something that gets people excited in the same way, because a lot of other people would try to be. Nintendo's polished with what they talk about, but I feel like other places would be like, that's not on brand enough. Like, it'd be too corporate. Like, it'd just be like, here's Mass Effect Andromeda, here you go, and not like staring at bananas in between game announcements.
Those are some things we can expect, a little bit of speculation. Now, I've got some questions. Now, you have been working for a full year at a pretty major video game developer, and I know you can't talk about anything Volition may or may not be bringing, and I'm not going to ask you, but do you think you're able to talk about like the mood this time of year, now that you've seen a full annual cycle, I guess, go by?
Hey, hi. This is Chip interjecting post-podcast to mention that the game I have been working on at Volition, as of this date, has been announced. It's called Agents of Mayhem. It's a single-player open-world game. If you search for Agents of Mayhem, you'll very easily find the CG announced trailer. No gameplay footage out yet, but I believe some gameplay will be shown at some point during E3. I don't know when and where, but I'm pretty sure that's happening. And if you see footage of the game and whoever played it really well, that's me. I captured some of the footage for the game. Not all of it, but some of it. So that's pretty cool. I hope that footage gets shown somewhere. But yeah, the website for the game is aomthegame.com. You can find the official Twitter through there and all that. If you follow me, I'll also be tweeting out the cool stuff. But probably just follow that AOM Twitter instead, because they'll probably do it quicker than I do. And also, all new information for the game is going to be revealed through IGN first for like the first month, because it's part of IGN's IGN First program. So yeah, go there if you want to, get the news first. But the Twitter and myself and, AOM's Facebook, the website, there's a whole bunch of places to get the info. Anyways, back to the podcast. So I can talk about the mood just because from doing streams at Volition, like I've interacted with people from other studios and stuff, and like I've interacted with the dude who is he works with Idea Xbox, the indie game part of Microsoft. Alex Judd, I believe his name is. I've talked to him, and he's heavily involved in E3 stuff and all that. And there's several other people that, it's like, even if they don't work on a game, like they're still involved with the process and like getting other people organized for E3 and stuff. And all of them have been going, oh my God, no. I kind of knew this beforehand already, even like with just hearing not even people who work on games, but just people who have to cover E3, like Giant Bomb and, all those people, all of them dread E3 because it is like, there's a lot of work up to that point, like just, getting prepared. Like if a game developer is going to be at E3, they're going to have a playable demo, they have to make sure they have several PCs that run that demo. They bring them over on a plane. And all that preparation is stressful. And then like you're there for like almost a whole week, like nonstop, this loud fucking place. People are partying at night in between the things. And like, it's interviews, it's loud, there's lots of people, you have to keep explaining this game over and over again if you're one of the people who like demos a game or something. And it just seems incredibly intense from what I've seen, from how I've seen other people in the industry react. And I
do love some of my favorite E3 stories come from people sharing their stories of being given demos from games that your average like video game fan does not care about at all.
Right.
There's a great supercut of Justin McElroy of Polygon and comedy podcasting fame going on different years Giant Bomb E3 things and telling stories about demos of various Sherlock Holmes point-and-click adventure games.
Yeah.
And I can't begin to tell the story. I can just encourage you to like, I'm sure there's a YouTube supercut of all of these. Look it up. It's great stories of people just trying to stick on script for this game that they know is getting no press, but they're proud of it, and it is their job to tell you everything.
Yeah. It's that more obscure stuff is stuff I love to hear about at E3 as well. And there's something I kind of miss that hasn't been present at E3 for a long time now, and that was when there were other companies trying to break into the business with new consoles that were far too ambitious, such as the Phantom.
Oh, the Phantom.
The Phantom was a really big fun thing of E3 for like 2 or 3 years, I think, before it was a Phantom and didn't exist except for the keyboard they made that people liked, which I think you can still buy. Maybe, I'm not sure. Oh, there's one more conference though, isn't there?
Oh,
Square Enix.
There's a Square Enix conference?
I believe so. There was one last year.
I didn't see it on the schedule that I found.
I'm pretty sure Square Enix is still having a conference like last year.
Whether there is or isn't, what are you expecting from Squeenings? I guess more Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, more Kingdom Hearts, more Final Fantasy 15 and 7 Remake. There's rumors that they're working on bringing back older IPs they haven't done anything with in a while.
Okay.
Some people believe there might be a new Parasite Eve. Which,
that would be a comeback, wouldn't it?
If they make a new Parasite Eve, I hope they try to understand why people like Parasite Eve and they don't make a third birthday. I don't know if you've been reading Dark Id's Let's Play of Third Birthday, but that game is fucking batshit and crazy and just awful. Within the first 10 minutes of not knowing what the fuck's going on, you are instructed to kill, or destroy the proper noun, Big Orb. Capital B, capital O. We have to destroy the big orb.
Oh, I love early drafts of Star Wars, just seeing how it developed.
And yeah, on top of that, like that game just makes it's a crazy fucking fever dream that makes no sense. So I hope if they make a new Parasite Eve, they go towards more like what one was, which was a JRPG Resident Evil, but instead of viruses, it was mitochondria. It was about how mitochondria was actually a parasite waiting in every living organism, waiting to evolve into its true form, the perfect being. And also, mitochondria would cause people to turn into giant zombie dogs.
Man's first sin was swords.
It's true. Man's first sin was swords. I love Trauma Center.
I'm pretty sure for a lot of people, at least people in our social circle, and therefore, I guess our listeners, if they reflect our social circle, a Square Enix show is just waiting for more Nier, and just Nier plus filler.
Yes. Yes, I really hope there's more Nier footage shown. They showed a little bit at a Japanese game show conference thing a month or so ago. It was a very small amount of footage, but it looked great. It looked what I want from Platinum, not the Activision games they make.
So, have you played the Turtles game?
I haven't, but from what I've seen a lot of other people say, it seems pretty bleh.
Yeah.
So every level is just a big wide open map that has randomly generated mission objectives of like, disarm the bomb while fighting off guys. And once you do enough random missions that all feel kind of samey, then like the boss appears and they all have like 12 health bars because 4 people are punching them.
I believe the number is 7. 7 health bars.
7 health bars. All right. And it just seems not great, but like I understand why they are the way they are, because they're licensed games made cheap and quickly. So like they can't, it takes a long fucking time to make a good video game. So when you have like a year-long development cycle at most, like it's pretty hard unless you're making a really small game. Transformers was all right though, but Korra and it seems like Ninja Turtles, not great.
Not great. So I guess that's all of E3 then. So some housekeeping. Please be sure to watch that Papa John's video we talked about in last month's podcast.
Yes. Again, if I forget to post the link or something, the title of the video is, once I find it on my Twitter again, the title of the video is, wow, a lot of people tweeting today. Oh my God.
Papa John's places his first ever online order. That's really all you need. The video,
yes.
The title keeps going.
Yes. It's great.
I
Papa
love
John's
how
talks with his quote unquote son.
Yes. I can't wait until Bo has a child of his own. So then we have Pop John.
What if Papa John gets, divorced at some point and he's a stepfather? Like, is he going to step Pepper John or something?
Steppa John, yes.
Steppa John.
I love how the slight shaky cam is always making me wonder if Jason Bourne's going to come in from out of frame and beat him down. Oh, it's great. It's great. Also, Men of Game Dev 2017 is on Kickstarter for another 13 days from time of recording. By the time this is posted, it might be in the final stretch.
It's
so
already funded, but it's already funded, but you can use it as a pre-order platform, get a sweet calendar.
And all sorts of other goodies. There's mouse pads. You can get a 20 by 30 minimum canvas of a man of your choice.
Oh my God, that could be me.
It could be.
Or Swery. I have a feeling Swery's picture will probably be the best one. I have no way I can compete.
Boone Cotter and his stupendous beard from Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this after the Kickstarter is closed, you can still check it out at nogoblin.com. Because, they order it through their site. At least that's what they've done from previous years.
Yeah.
Also, everything willing, we've set a premiere date for the first episode of History Honeys. So look for it Monday, June 6th.
Oh, nice.
It is the anniversary of a very important event that we discuss in that first episode.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Which works out really well. I'm very, very happy about that. So yeah, enjoy your E3. I hope you are. I hope this is getting you hype, and if it goes well, tell whoever books the YouTube game show to get us instead of Rooster Teeth, or in addition to. I don't want to take money out of anybody's pocket.
Yeah. I just hope E3 somehow even gets close to matching last year's. Like, it doesn't even have to be like, oh, an exciting game I care about. Just something that makes everybody freak out, because that's fun for me. I just like talking in all caps for a while,
And I hope I get to host Konami's conference. Maybe I can just go and set up a booth, because, like, who's going to say anything?
Right, we can just probably print out some fake badges and just masquerade as Konami representatives. We'll set up our own stream. It's not that hard. And then we can announce as many pachinko machines as we want.
Yes! So look out for that E3 2017. And I guess all that's left to say is good night, folks.
Oh, wait, don't we have an email?
Oh, yeah. Frick me twice. We have an email.
We have an email.
Apologies. Aw, that's no way to start off a letter. Chin up, bucko. Apologies if this is a stupid question or if you've heard it before. Do you guys generally have more fun LPing really good games with lots of cool stuff like The Wonderful 101, or really flawed games with lots of stuff to make fun of like Watch Dogs or Rogue Warrior? That's from Jamie, who I believe is also in the first listener mail segment of History Honeys.
Oh, huh.
I mean, Jamie's not the least common name, but I've got a feeling.
Yeah, probably. Normally, I really enjoy doing, games I actually enjoy. Stuff like Rogue Warrior and Watch Dogs, which are games I do not like, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff to poke fun at. Those are great. I think Watch Dogs pointed out like the major issue I have with doing that, though, is that like when we did Rogue Warrior, or like when I did Duck Dynasty with Casey Green, those games are short. Like, you can go through those games in 2 to 4 hours.
Right.
So like, you poke fun at it, you have a good laugh, but it's like done and over with fairly quickly. Whereas Watch Dogs was very long. That was a 30-hour game.
I think this is a question we're both going to have different answers to, because you have to play the darn thing.
Yeah, I have to play them and I have to edit them. So
I don't really care as long as it truly does have lots of stuff either way. I'm going to say that Rogue Warrior doesn't have lots of stuff of any. It just doesn't have stuff.
No, yeah. Which is,
And I think there's a clear difference, if you're listening to the whole thing, between early Watch Dogs and later Watch Dogs. Or at least that big lull in middle Watch Dogs.
Yes, where the game just spins its wheels for like 12 episodes.
As long as there's lots of stuff to talk about, whether it's positive or negative or either kind of ridiculous, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, like, when I'm just talking over it, like, I don't really care which one it is. I would probably say I enjoy doing the games I like more, because when I'm editing them and playing them, I'm definitely having a lot more fun. Whereas with when I first started doing Watch Dogs, I was actually having a lot of fun doing the editing, because I got to do goofy stuff like that montage where I was trying to ramp off a car with a motorcycle, and I had to like prop the car up, and I clipped through. That stuff was a lot of fun. But there were times where it's just like, when the game's in that middle bit and it's really dull and just nothing's happening, this is a weird thing where it's like, okay, do I just present the game the way it is and like, okay, it's really dull for this part, or do I try because that's going to make watching the actual video kind of boring too, even if we're joking a fair amount. So like, do I plan it out more so that I try and do goofy side stuff that's funny in between to spice it up, which is what I tried doing, which I feel worked for the most part, but there were a couple times where I probably could have gone to a mission faster with less goofy stuff in it to just get through it a little bit faster for pacing's sake. But yeah, that's weird, like fighting the game's pacing, because the pacing of the game and the pacing of our content in episodic form is different. So like, oh, a part of the game is poorly paced. How can I make it good pacing entertainment wise? Which is really weird. I had to do that a lot with Watch Dogs though. So because of that, I think I enjoy doing games I like a lot more, which is, the majority of our LPs have been games that we generally like.
Yeah, when we were talking about in last episode's question, trying to get a primer for a new listener, where the top ones to go for, I think most of the ones we settled on were games that were enjoyable,
Yeah. I mean, I love Killer 7, shit.
We did not recommend Watch Dogs as a start. I mean,
no, I don't think Watch Dogs is a good one to start off with. I feel Watch Dogs is a good one to go after you've gotten through a good chunk of our stuff, because then you can go like, okay, how would they do with a game that they are critical of the whole time? That isn't obviously
the
something
fight.
stupid.
I still think the fight is top tier. It might be the best thing we've ever done, but
top
it's
tier,
only 45 minutes of video. It's only one afternoon of recording.
Yeah, like, because like with anytime we've done other stuff that's like not good, it's obviously like been presented at the beginning as like, oh, haha, we're having a laugh. Because it's like, oh, Rogue Warrior, Duck Dynasty.
Even by the end
seem
like 2/3 through Rogue Warrior, and that's the shortest game in the world. We just hated being there.
Yeah, like though, Duck Dynasty, Rogue Warrior, stuff like that. It's like we come into that, and everybody else comes into that automatically knowing like, haha, this game's stupid and bad, and it was like some crappy thing that was made on a tiny budget and isn't good, and nobody expects it to be good. Whereas Watch Dogs is a big game that did get a lot of decent reviews. There are lots of people who like it, but like it is heavily flawed, and there's lots of things to poke at it about. And like, so I feel like Watch Dogs at least is a little different in that regards, because a lot of people could go into that going like, oh, I've heard about Watch Dogs. This seems like it could be good.
So I guess I hope that answers your question. I hope you enjoyed that discussion. And if you, the listener, would like to get us to talk about something, about games or Let's Plays or ourselves or literally anything else under the sun, where can they send those questions?
Chip Cheesem at chipandironicast.com.
Okay. So do you want me to redo the notes and goodbye stuff, or do you want to rearrange that, or just leave it as is?
I think we can leave it as is. It's fine.
Okay. So now all that's left to say again, good night, folks.
Good night, everybody.